Okay, we are live. Welcome to our journaling workshop this week. For everybody watching the recording, I wanted to first just kind of share with you what the journaling workshops are, because typically this is only available inside the Emotionally Empowered membership. So what that membership is it includes these journaling workshops, which is where we just kind of open it up to see how everybody is doing. We kind of go around, and then I provide journal prompt flows for the group. And what that is a set of journal prompts, so that you start off with one journal prompt, but then you end with a full journal entry, usually by the end with some sort of action item to get what it is that you want, or to feel how it is that you want to feel. So that's the journaling workshop. And then also inside Emotionally Empowered are journal prompt flows. And that's the set of flows that I just talked about, but I just provide those typed out for you so that you can either do the ones that I provide that day, or if you're going through a specific sort of emotion, you can just search like stress or overwhelm or relationships or something, and then it'll pop up all of those ones for you, and you can kind of go through that. And then there's the community chat piece as well. I did tell everybody that I had a big announcement for today on the journaling workshop, and I wanted to share with you that first before we dig into the actual journaling. So what that is that the journaling membership, Emotionally Empowered, normally is $197 a month. But I realized over the past month or so that my vision for Emotionally Empowered has shifted, and I want this membership, this space, to be more. Like, the word that kept coming to me is more. I want it to be like more accessible for more women to come in. I want it to provide like more peace, and I want it to like help women get more of what they want and feel less overwhelmed. All of that stuff. And so what I'm doing to hopefully accommodate that is to drop the price from $197 a month to only $47 a month. And when I first decided on that, it was kind of like a gut punch, because I feel like the value inside is not changing at all. But again, I'm just so passionate about delivering all of this to you guys. So I hope that it encourages you guys to come check it out and come join us. So if you enjoy today's workshop and are interested in strategic journaling and the way that you're going to experience today, I'll share a link with you, and you can come check it out, and you'll experience the journaling and then the accountability and the community as well. One other quick thing is that I try and do some sort of theme each month. And in January, I'm going to do the theme of the black and white mentality, or the all or nothing mentality, all or nothing mindset. The reason I chose this in particular is for two reasons. Number one, when I first started this membership, that was the one thing that every single member said. That was not the topic. I forget what the theme was when we started in May of this most recent year, but everyone mentioned that was one thing that they struggled with. And the second reason I want to do that is because it's January, it's the new year, and I feel like people tend to set goals and resolutions and intentions, and after about 2 to 3 weeks, people give up on them. And so I'm hoping that by starting right up front with overcoming this all or nothing mindset, we can find some leeway and some space and some compassion for ourselves, so that we, yes, go after these goals that you might have for yourself, but also if you find that middle ground too, so that you can still be proud of yourself for just taking any action towards it and not completely fall off by the end of the month. They say that like it's some sort of crazy percentage that I'll look up, but like by February, like 80% of people stop their resolutions or something. So you won't be part of that statistic by participating in January. Okay, so let's dig into our journaling workshop. Jess and Bree are on live. So are you guys going through anything specific that you wanted to share, any emotion or situation?
Not that I can think of at the moment, no.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And Bree, I know you don't have your screen on, so I'm not sure if your sun is up right now or if you're able to chat. Oh, she typed in, I got to get some food. Okay. So what I actually wanted to do today was walk through the breakthrough blueprint because we haven't done this in a little while. And I think it's always kind of refreshing to do. And so what the breakthrough blueprint is, in fact, I wonder if I can share. I'm going to share a picture of it in the chat and see if you can see it. I'm not sure if it'll pop up in the recording for those of you watching. But when I started getting questions around how I journal, because when I was going through my divorce and having full custody of my son and all the things, I was getting the comment of like, you seem like you're so good and like, you know, you're handling it so well. How? And I realized like I do actually have a specific way that I'm journaling, and I created how I journal in the breakthrough blueprint. And so these are like the 5 questions that I ask myself. So I wanted to go through that today. So the first step is awareness. So I would love for you to bring awareness to something that you're feeling. And I was actually thinking about this at 3 a.m. when the wind was howling here last night or this morning. And it could be anything. So one thing that came to my mind was how I need to wrap presents for everybody. I've done 0 wrapping, but my son is home from his daycare for 5 weeks. He's a 5-week break. And so I'm feeling a little bit of stress with just like managing him being at the sitter, but also the mom guilt of like, I do have the luxury to work from home. So I feel like he could stay at home, but I also have to like wrap the presents and maybe get some more gifts. I feel like once I wrap, I'm going to be like, oh, I actually need some more gifts for people. And then so like balancing all of that. So that's like the mom guilt, stress, and like balancing all of that too. And then there was one other thing that came up at 3 a.m. Oh, I reached out to a friend recently because it's my best friend from high school, and I haven't seen her in about a year, or really talked to her in about a year. And so I reached out to her about meeting up for lunch, and we're meeting up next Friday. But that's something that I really want to try to do this upcoming year is build like closer in-person relationships. So that's something else. So just trying to throw some things out there to jog your memory of something that you might want to journal on. So come up with your thing. I'll give you about a minute or so to come up with awareness around any sort of emotion or situation that you might want to journal through today. And I'll play some music for us. Okay. Jess, do you want to share what you came up with, if anything came up for you?
Sure. So I actually thought of this because I just talked about this with my husband this morning. And it was about whether I should go to school or not go to school next semester. And the reason is the feeling that I've been feeling is a little confused. I feel like the current routine that I have, I like, especially being able to pace myself with, at home with chores and the kids, school. It's a good balance that I have right now. And then I started questioning, will my school actually benefit, the family? And then on the flip coin, I was saying, well, it gives me a sense of me, myself, the individual self. It gives me a sense of purpose. And also, I think that in the long run, it will be something good for the kids to see. And not because, like, oh, mom got a degree, a bigger degree, but I think that with the challenges I have and then them being able to see that I was able to do it, it'll be just something good, not just for me, but for others around me as well. So I've been a little conflicted.
Mm, yeah, on both sides of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've been conflicted before too, because you just backed out of school the most recent semester.
And I kind of
Yeah.
knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah, at some point.
I was afraid.
Yeah. This is good. This is good to journal through this then.
Yeah.
That's good. Awesome. Bree, can you hear us? I saw your comment in the chat.
I can hear you now. Yeah, it was so weird. I could hear you like in my earbuds, but then when Jess started talking, I couldn't hear her. But I took them out and now I can. So I only caught the
Okay.
last part of what you were saying, but it's funny because mine has to do with school too. So I haven't gotten grades yet, and I'm like incessantly checking to see what grade I'm getting. And I've already kind of told Sam this morning, I think that if I don't get an A, I'm gonna feel like I need to quit. So that's my situation.
Okay. This is great. So the next prompt is, and question is meaning. So this is, what are you making your topic mean, but also think about it in terms of are there any judgments about it? So what are you judging yourself for? So for you, Jess, like, are you judging yourself for going to school? Like, do you think that maybe going to school means something, that you won't be able to do something, or that you will be able to do something that is taking away from something? Or do you think that your family will think that it's taking away from something? Bree, for you, do you think that, like, are you going to judge yourself if you don't get an A, it sounds like? So, like, what are those specific judgments? That's probably what I would journal on for you. So let's explore that meaning. What are you attaching to what you just brought awareness to? So 2 minutes on this.
Feel as if you're flying. What would that feel like? very light in my body. Inhale. And exhale.
Okay. Jess, what did you come up with?
Okay, so I put that going to school, all of them are bad ideas. Not being able to be there for the kids at the capacity that I have been now, the house chores will be more challenging because instead of like being able to spread them throughout the week, I'll have to cram everything um more since the other days I'll have to do school stuff. Um, and then I put self-worth, aka purpose, because I am a hyperachiever, I've always put emphasis on my work or schooling. And so if you take that away, will that potentially hurt my, my self-worth or how I view myself? Um, Money, and then the stress may, I have a view that going back to school may increase my stress, which may delay my healing or may hinder my healing.
So it's on both sides. It's going to school. Not going to school means not having a purpose, but also going to school equals higher stress.
That's why I'm like this. I'm like, what do I
Yeah.
do? And my
Yeah.
husband's like, just go to school. It's like a no-brainer. But I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's not a
Yeah.
no-brainer. Not for me.
So easy for other people.
It's not easy for me. It's easy for him. He's like, just go to school. Like, why is this even a question? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Bree, what did you come up with?
So mine I think ties into the purpose thing too, because I'm judging myself if I'm going to do it, I need to do my best, and I know that I can get an A. So if I'm not getting an A, then why bother? And I think it's worse because I don't have an end goal with the schooling. So like it feels like right now my whole reason for being there is to get an A. Like I know I'm going to do something with it down the line, but I'm not sure what, because what I thought I was going to do with it has changed. And now I'm like in this in between of not knowing. So I think that is making it worse that like if I don't get an A, then like everything is like there's really no reason to be here. So, yeah.
So you've attached the goal of school, like the goal isn't to get the job, the goal is to get an A.
Yeah.
I relate to that because what job am I going to get now?
That's
Like,
what, yeah. I'm like, I love this. I love school. I love learning, but I'm basing it completely on the grade right now. And that's not like I should be basing it on like my self-development and learning what I'm doing and like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys know this question that I'm going to ask you next, but my next question for you is just getting curious about, sorry, my internet is so bad today because the wind is so bad outside today. The next question is this true? It's getting curious around everything that you've brought awareness to and the judgments that you've just said. So for you guys specifically, what I would like to bring awareness to specifically, just to get you guys to think outside the box, starting backwards from you, Bree, I wrote down for you, not getting an A is not doing your best. Is that true? Like, does that mean that like you actually didn't do your best on each paper if you didn't get an A? Like, do you truly feel like you could have done better? Or like when you submitted each paper, you felt really good about it? So like kind of going back to that. And the goal isn't to be like no or yes or anything. It's just really like looking at it objectively. Um, and also, like, is the goal truly to get an A? Like, and an A is like whose perspective? One teacher's perspective. And that's like, so just kind of exploring that. And then for you, Jess, my other alternative perspective for you, of course, you can say, like, is it true that you won't be there for your kids as much? Is it true that you'll have to cram more chores in? That might be yes. And and we'll stop there. But then my other perspective is it true that not going to school means you won't have a purpose? Might be yes, might be no. Closing that door means it'll open up another door where you can pursue something completely different. Is it true that going to school equals more stress? I've shared this before on a different call, but I used to think that being very successful in my business and very successful in my health, both at the same time, was going to be very overwhelming and stressful. And I had to ask myself, is that true? And I said, no, like I know of people and I can find proof of people that are successful in business and super fit and great moms and volunteering and doing more than all these things. And they're not stressed, right? So, like, is there any proof that like going to school and being a mom and doing all the things actually is like peaceful, right? Actually could be calming for you because it could be an outlet. So asking, just getting curious, kind of playing devil's advocate here. So 2 minutes on this one. Okay. That's what was your curiosity.
Okay, so no, most of the things would not be true. Going to school it's, but some would be. Going to school would increase my stress, right? It would. Chores would be more challenging, doing them. I just, I don't think they would be impossible. They would just look a little different. Um, my purpose would change. I think with time I would find a new purpose, but there's so many unknowns, right? Like when, what would it be? All these things. Um, I don't think that I would be there less for the kids because I would always make them a priority. So I think I would always prioritize that over anything. And then I put as far as money, No, yes, that's true. I would save money if I didn't go to school, but then I put money comes and goes. Because I would just find somewhere else to spend it on. Like I would go more Amazon shopping.
That's
So
true.
that's my list.
Yeah, good list. I like that. Free, what about you?
Um, so mine, I kind of started like I can't know what my best is because like I am so hyper focused on the expectations. So like I figure out what each professor wants and then like do what I need to do to give that to them. So this one is like the one I'm worried about is super academic and usually I do well because of my writing abilities and that's not going to get me by because this guy's super academic and wants everything like perfect and I'm not going to know if I did that or not until he tells me
Mm.
that I did kind of
Mhm.
thing. So that led me into like what is my best though and kind of like what's the purpose of me going to school if it's not to get an A then it's like growth and like a creative outlet kind of like you were saying to Jess like something for me to focus on so I'm not just drowning in monotony of motherhood
Mhm.
so I think that that might be like the shift I need to make like stop. But I just love getting A's too, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this leads perfectly into the next thing. So the next prompt is all around clarity. So like, well, what is it that you do want? And I don't think that you need to say like, well, A's are not important to you. And I don't think that by not focusing on A's, you're never going to get A's. You're still going to get A's because that's just who you are, right? Like you're good at what you do and you're going to keep doing your best. And so A's can still fulfill you, but you can get clarity too on what you also want out of school is that creative outlet because like we were talking about earlier when you have that creative outlet you can rest more you can feel like fulfilled and like you're pursuing that purpose like adding more reasons for going to school than just A's and when you don't get them and playing like the opposite when you don't get the A what type of mom are you when you don't get the A? How do you show up when you don't get the A? What type of wife are you when you don't get the A versus when you get the A or don't get the A? But also you have all of these other stacked reasons of why you're going to school. So what the clarity, what is it that you actually want? And for you too, Jess, like what is it that you do want from this? And you could honestly do both sides. So like play it out if you do go to school what is it that you would like? Maybe since it was true that you would have less time to do like some of the things at home and that it would be more stressful, what would make it less stressful? Maybe like spending a little bit more money to get a house cleaner once a week. Maybe that would help. Um, and then the last one is the action step. So you don't need to think too far in advance, but just like maybe the clarity is like you just would love like more time and like more help here. Or maybe if you didn't go to school, you would love to just pursue other hobbies and like just you've never really opened yourself up to that potentially. I'm not sure. And like test out some new things. So here you're just kind of asking yourself, like, what is it? And you can even look back at what you just wrote based on the awareness and the judgments and curiosity. What do you think it is that you do want? And just kind of listen to what comes up when you ask yourself that question and trust that. So, a couple minutes here. All right, Jess, if you're still there.
So I'm here. Okay, so at first I started just writing like words like peace, harmony, and purpose, but then I started to be more clear. So I do want to show that I can do this. I do want to accomplish hard things and show my kids that anything is possible. I don't want to give up. I do want to, but I do want to contribute more to the house. I do want to continue making connections, and the free time allows me for that. So
Mm.
again, back to square one. I feel like not to square one, but because what you said earlier is true. Like I can ask for help. I can, get someone to help clean the house. There's ways around it that I hadn't thought of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and today isn't about like making the final decision. It's just about bringing awareness to, I think, both sides. And the more awareness that you have to both sides, I think the more clear eventually it's going to be like, oh, this is what I definitely want to do.
Right.
Yeah. For some reason, I just have to say this. When you were saying that, what popped in my head was, what is that website where you can do work for people? Do you know? Oh, it's like VA work, but it's not VA. Oh my gosh. I'll think of it. But you can do work, you can apply online and you can do like nursing work. You can do any sort of work. When you said you want to contribute more, like you could do work, I'm positive now, just like with your existing degree. So that's like maybe one of the action steps that we'll go into next is like look at the type of work that you could do now, see if any of that sounds interesting to you. And that sort of work is contract work. So you could get a job that's like a week long or literally one job. So it's like data entry for like a hospital or something. And then when it's done type of thing, or they sign you on for like a longer term or something. So you could look into something like that.
Okay.
I will think of that. I can't believe it's not coming to me. Bree, what did you come up with?
Mine actually ended with like, what would I do if I wasn't at school too? Like, what would be the other option? But I think what I want is I want to feel better internally, and I'm used to that coming from external validation. And the biggest, like the thing I've always been best at is being a student. So I don't know, but I do love like specifically this stuff that I'm actually studying. Like I can be a good, I'm actually not supposed to, but I'm doing my husband's like safety online training certification because he's not good at school and he's really good at his job, but like he would fail it. So I'm just like going through and and he's like, honey, you can't get 100. Like you have to like get things wrong so people think it's actually me. But that stuff, I'm like, that's fun. Just cross it off, get the 100 and be done with it. But this stuff that I'm learning now, I actually enjoy, like the topics and the thinking about it, and it's like helping me to grow and develop. So I think like that's good. I don't want that to go away. but I
Yeah.
might not need to do it through school.
Yes.
So
Yeah, what I was just thinking for you is like with your retreats, I know that you don't have any other ones planned, but like you could dive deep into learning about that because that's a whole thing.
yeah.
So you can learn about like how to effectively plan retreats. And there's so many different aspects to that, as you know. It's like how to get interest in retreats, how to market retreats, how
Yeah.
to find the house and like the itinerary for retreats and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I do. I have the next one for February actually.
Oh, that's right.
And
You
it's
do.
yeah. So it's almost full already too. And I did write that down. Like I could just focus on the retreats, but I don't think it would be fulfilling.
Mm.
Um, and then I could just write too. Like if I wanted to try and just write whatever I'm learning on my own and write for other people to read. But
Mhm.
I don't think anything would feel as good as school. So I don't know.
Well, perfect segue into our last section, which is action. So, what are the action steps that you can take? So, for you, Brie, like just play around with like what might be fulfilling. And for you, it's like maybe just making a list of the things that like you could do and playing around with it. And as you're doing this, you might be like, yeah, no, this wouldn't be fulfilling. Like you've already just started to do, but just bringing awareness to that because you might write one thing in that list. It's like, ooh, like that sparks the idea to then go Google something and like something comes of that. Um, and that, or maybe it's like for both of you guys, like just going to Google and being like, what could I do with this? Or what could I do with like this degree that you already have? Or if I weren't to take this class or whatever. Also for you, Jess, you could look into for an action, look into the cost of a house cleaner in your area because they vary based on location like greatly. So if that was something you wanted to look into, you could do that. Um, so think of like based on the clarity that you have, what are some tangible things that you could start to do? And you guys know for this, I like micro steps. So if anything feels too big, like going to Google, make it smaller. So like write down like I will type in this or like search for this thing. My one example that I love to give is if you want to have a conversation with someone, that's a little bit too big. So I would write down how are you going to contact that person to let them know that you want to have a conversation. And then one of those steps would be write down like an outline of the main points that you want to get across in that conversation and then actually having the conversation. So like 3 micro steps to the one action of like having a conversation with somebody. So get like really granular with these so that you actually take action and do it. Ideally, one of these things you could do right after this call or at least at some point this week. So what are action steps that you can do to start to achieve that clarity that you just wrote about? So 2 minutes here. Okay. Jess, what are your action items?
So I'm going to look into getting a house cleaner. I'm not sure yet. Like, I want someone to do like the deep cleaning, and I'm not sure if that's going to be probably once a month, and then we can do like the everyday cleaning. And then something that I've been doing new and has been going pretty good is breaking down house chores needed for that week and then spreading them throughout the week into small tasks. So like if I know the bathroom needs to be clean, like Monday doing wiping down like all the surfaces of the bathroom and then whatever, like that, breaking it down. So that it doesn't seem like overwhelming where I'm like cleaning the whole bathroom and it's too much. And then I've been like last week I did that and I accomplished a lot. That day that I put on the Voxer app that I was like I did a lot. That was that day. I got a lot done. That things that I haven't done in a long time. So I was like so happy with myself. So I will do that and then delegate like any bigger or harder tasks or things that I can't do, then I'll delegate those. Um and then I'm gonna continue using the Opal app for connection time, just because it's been working out great and it's a great like thing that allots time for me to make connection, not just with my kids, but my husband as well. So um, that's another action plan that I will continue using.
I like that. Like you said earlier, that first week is like the best week where you're so focused on the app, but we can get back there.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Bree, what are your action items?
So I just kind of wrote a bunch of lists that I need to make.
Love it.
So like if I were going to write, what would I write about and for who and like how would I publish it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what else might make me fulfilled or like allow me to use my brain? Can you hear Jacob yelling? Yeah, but that was basically it. And then I also thought like to journal, what would I do if I could do anything? Like
Mm,
just get the juices flowing.
yeah. I feel like that's a good thing to do from time to time, anyways, because we often don't allow ourselves to think about that, especially if we're routine, which as humans, we're routine creatures. But if we thrive off of habits and routines, like I feel like the three of us do,
Mhm.
it's just we get stuck in that and we don't think like, oh, wow, I could do something different, or even I could do this thing in a different way. So I like that. And also, anything that you guys choose to do from this action list, know that you can always come back to this breakthrough blueprint and journal through this afterwards. Like try it and see how it feels. And if it feels great, keep doing it. If it doesn't feel good, like try something else. That's like the beautiful thing about trying new things. And you can, if you don't know, like, I don't know if this is like working or not working, this is where the breakthrough blueprint can help you have that breakthrough or get closer to that decision or end goal or end feeling that you want to have. So, did this help you guys feel a little bit more, what would it even be, comfortable in where you're at? 'Cause I feel like both of you are in that middle ground of like waiting for the grades and waiting to like come up with your answer.
Yeah, I still really want to know what my grade is.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But it is fun to like think further into it or like the bigger picture other than just like I want to know what my grade is, you know?
Yeah.
Um
It's not only about that anymore,
right.
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not like so in the middle. I'm a little bit more now leaning towards one side than the other.
Yeah. Which side are you leaning towards?
Going to school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my
Cool.
husband was right. Just don't let him know that.
Yeah. We won't. It'll be
Yeah.
our secret.
Yeah. Don't let him know that.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you guys for showing up today. And oh wait, yes, next week is our holiday party. So wear your ugly sweaters, or I have like little jingle bell earrings. We'll do more journaling next week too, and we'll just talk about festivities and Christmas stuff. So I'll hopefully see you guys next week and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.